Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I am Primetime 000, joined by Matt and Dan. How you guys doing?
Hey, good. Ready for the playoffs.
Man, we are ready to rock and roll. We just get on this thing and we just go straight as it is. We don't take 2 takes, 3 takes. This is just authentic takes coming right here.
Yeah, without clickbait, baby. Let's go ahead. Hey, this episode we got some good stuff going on. First, second down, playoff talk. Third down, the Matt mentality. That's been juicy in chat lately. So some good stuff going on. But let's talk about the AFC first, the mega conference, the best conference. Matt, what are you thinking AFC-wise in the playoffs?
Yeah, so the AFC, I think it's a little less, I know it's a little less up in the air than the NFC. I think Gutta, QP, and RD are really the only ones that can really move around here, at least in or out of the playoffs. But the one thing I'm noticing as I look at the homepage of Neon is I hope everything stays the same. I want Dan and Prime. I want you guys to be the 1 and the 2 seed, because if you guys play, which seems to, at least tradition has said that's not going to happen. But if you guys play, I want it to be the game that gets you into the Super Bowl. But it's the other matchups that I'm excited about. If everything stayed the same, it would be Clink versus QP. Obviously, their third time playing this season. Yep. 2 guys that know each other well. But for me, it's QP is struggling. And guys like QP, though, it's like The Undertaker, right? The Undertaker would always lay down, and then he would just randomly pop up, right? I'm waiting for QP to randomly pop up, and maybe a win over someone like Clink is that moment, and then he goes on a run. We know he has it in him. He's a different man come playoff time. I said he gets the blow dryer out, he slicks the hair back, puts the robe on, posts pics of the Simbardis. It's a different QP. But the 4-5 is what I really want to see. Dump and Bean. That's defensive guy in Bean and an offensive guy in Dump. I want to see that matchup. I think both of those guys can make a run, but I think that's the marquee first-round matchup for me, just because their styles are the exact opposite, and I think it's going to be strength versus strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this AFC is a load of fun come playoff time. Take myself and Prime right out of it. Just look at the teams 3 through 6 right now. You've got Clink, you got Dump, you got Q, you've got Bean. All 4 of those guys, I think, have the capability of winning 1 to 2, 3 maybe potentially. Bean still hasn't shown that quite yet, but Dump, Q, Clink, all those guys. I mean, those are tough matchups. This is one of the seasons that I am so thankful that I have a shot here, as long as I can beat Woods week 18 to get the 1 seed and just avoid the wild card, because it is just a bloodbath. And I can't remember a conference that had 6, maybe 7, again, depending on hopefully RD or good or whatever happens there. Legit teams, though, that are just not happy to make the playoffs. I think that's the thing that's so powerful about the AFC. NFC side, they're like, hey, yeah, make the playoffs. Yeah, fun. Like, AFC guys are like, no, I'm not making the playoffs. I want to win in the playoffs. That's why I'm there. And it's going to be a battle over there.
Yeah, that's good. Good point. Obviously, AFC just has so many, not only top tier users, but the teams. If you're Dan and you have to play Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce and Pacheco, that's not fun. Not only are you playing Clinky, who's a pretty intelligent player, but that's probably the best quarterback in the game. And if you're like, oh, well, no, Mahomes isn't the best in the game, it's actually Joe Burrow. Well, guess what? Someone's going to have to play Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Higgins and Joe Mixon. And then if you're like, there's another set feet lead guy somewhere. Oh, yeah, that's Justin Herbert and QP, who just so happens to be a still probably top 10 player in the SML. But he's got the Chargers, and it's his favorite team. So many good quarterbacks are in the AFC. It just makes it tough. I'm curious of what's going to happen with that 7 seed. I'm going to expect QP to kind of stay there at 6. I think he'll beat Gutta and kind of gain some confidence going in the playoffs. 7 seed, RD does have some personal stuff. Not sure what's going to happen there, or if Gutta will sneak in. Regardless, like Dan said, it's always important. Every game matters. And, sometimes if you lose on a play or if you have to take a sim loss or something, you never know when it matters because there's a lot of tiebreakers. And this would be the year I'd love to have a tiebreaker over Dan to have that number 1 seed. Didn't work out that way, but man, really good conference. NFC moving on, second down. NFC also very interesting. Maybe not as good of teams in terms of talent at quarterback position, or even maybe SML parity wise, but still a lot of good players, and maybe even more intrigued due to seeding and tie breaking stuff, yada yada yada. Dan, what do you think about the NFC?
Yeah, I think if I focus in on the AFC, the teams 3 through 6, I want to focus on kind of the teams right now on the NFC side, 6, 7, 8, 9, even all the way down to 10. With some of these matchups going on, you've got AJ, you got Matt, you got Meats, you got even Tiny. I think has a shot. Dom still has a shot at 7 and 8. Man, this week and a half that we're sitting here left in the season in the NFC side, it is going to be crazy. It is going to be calculations about common opponents and who beat who, and will EA get it right? And then we look at matchups. Just as much as we say in the AFC side, we don't know who's really going to come out of that. You don't know who's going to come out of this NFC side, and even some of these teams that are going to sneak in, like a Dom or a Matt sneaking in, they all suddenly move. They're not a seventh seed. They're moving up, and they have a chance to make some noise. So I'm excited what the last week and a half will be in the regular season on the NFC side.
Yeah, so on the AFC side, I think outside of Gutta, and no offense to him, I think everybody that is currently in the playoffs on the AFC side can win it all. I don't necessarily think that on the NFC side, but I do think that it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, just this last week is going to be a lot of fun because you'd have to do some crazy math to figure out who's in and who's out. Yeah. I mean, you could have Dom go to the 7th seed, and I think he's a real Super Bowl contender. If he wins out, beats Meats, and then beats me, he's in on the conference tiebreaker. So that's like the only math that I've done. But I mean, look, we got Biz as the 2 seed with the Niners. That's a really good team, and he can run with McCaffrey, plays good defense, shortens the game. He can make a run. You've got the Eagles and Woods, who I've talked about on this show and touted up. You can't run on the Eagles, so you've got to pass. He could make a run. Doink, we've seen him make runs before. Straw just made one. He's sitting at the 5 seed. AJ was once the next big thing. I know they say NFC's playing for second place, and maybe that's true, but I think it's going to be a real fun race to see who gets out of there. Bomber is obviously the top dog, but he looks beatable. He just barely beat Coop today, who is picking in the top 5, I think. I don't know what's going to happen. If you ask me to predict, I would probably take Straw, but I don't know. It's going to be fun. I don't know who's going to get in or not, but it's going to be better than it looks. Let me say that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think NFC definitely is more of a toss-up maybe, but I think Bomber's the favorite still, and he was playing really well last season, had a fumble against Dom late in maybe a clutch drive moment. Straw, remember, took a forced win in the playoffs last year, and I'm not discrediting Straw's run because he was close to winning the Super Bowl. But a lot of interesting stuff. Biz, I didn't think he was going to make the playoffs. He did. Hats off to Biz. Just lots of interesting stuff. Hey, I predicted AJ to be the next big thing a cycle ago, and then I took that title away. If AJ can find a way to just become the next big thing, that'd be impressive, and that would be making a Super Bowl. Real quick, gonna go off script here. Would you guys ever, let's say it's week 18, rest of starters to, against a certain guy to make sure your playoff seeding's better, or no? Would you just play to win no matter what?
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I always play to win. I'm going to get into that in a second. If my seeding, I might sit some guys if I, to avoid injury, and if I lose, maybe I get a more favorable matchup. But in my opinion, every single game I play to win. So that's my mentality.
Yeah, I would never purposely lose, but I would definitely rest starters going into the playoffs. And I would give everything I got to the backups and still try to play and win. I think there is something about momentum in Madden. It's kind of a weird thing. We're kind of seeing with Q right now. And so I would not want to just, quote unquote, throw a game because then I have to play the next game. And all of a sudden, maybe I'm a little bit off on that. So I want to be as sharp as I can, and I would not want to throw a game.
Yeah, same way. Obviously, a little bit of integrity that goes into that as well. Resting starters, I do believe in 100%. I was just curious. Week 18, I have a chance to play RD. You know, if I wanted to, I could say, hey, I want to make sure I beat this guy this way, so that way I don't match up against Q or this guy, you know. But at the end of the day, if you're going to make the Super Bowl, you're probably going to have to beat a guy like that anyway. So I was just curious what your guys' thoughts were. Third down, Matt kind of hinted at it. This Matt played Bean. I don't know if you guys watched, or some of you, Matt probably watched because he was there. He played Bean in a game, and he was playing it. He scored a field goal. He was down by 1 with about 3 minutes left. Kicks the ball off. His goal was to kind of stop Bean, get the ball back, and kick a field goal to win the game. That didn't happen. Matt actually didn't take any of his timeouts left. Timeouts in that period, that 3-minute stretch. Bean takes to Twitter and says, look, yeah, you know, it would have been nice if the guy would have tried, which feeds into the Matt's woe is me. I'm not a great player. What do you guys think about the Matt mentality, the interesting gameplay decisions sometimes, the whole Matt shtick? Matt, we'll give you the ball here first, and then we'll talk. And if you want to kind of talk about that after we talk, you can. But hey, Bean's out there talking. We want to give you a chance to rebuttal.
Yeah, I'm going to go into Bean on 4th down, so I'm going to limit what I say here on 3rd down. But look, if you want me to address that game, anybody who's ever watched me play Madden, which a lot of you have that's listening, I struggle in late game situations with clock management. My biggest struggle, I can't get out of bounds. I could probably go back and find games this cycle where I had the ball late and I needed to pass to get it a field goal range or to score a touchdown, and the game ended in the middle of the field because the clock ran out. So and if you watch me pass, I pass in the middle of the field. It's just the sideline passes, I'm not good at them. So there's the routes, all that kind of stuff. So my thought was, let me hold on to my timeouts for offense so that when I get the ball back, I can stop the clock in the middle of the field. The problem was I couldn't stop the run. And so he just kept going and going and going and killing the clock. I had him in a 3rd and 1. There was like 40 seconds left. If I stop him, I burn the timeout. I now have 35 seconds and 2 timeouts, which to me is better than 1 minute and no timeouts. And even if I burn those timeouts, he got so many first downs that I couldn't have done anything anyway. My thing is I've got a plan going into every game. And here's the thing. When it works, I look like a genius and no one says anything. And when it doesn't, then you see what Bean says, and I'll get into that in a second. But I kicked to AJ in overtime yesterday. I punted on 4th and inches to win the game. I was ahead. He kicked a field goal with time expiring. I won the toss in overtime. I kicked it to him. Everybody's probably thinking, look at this idiot. He definitely doesn't want to win. I got an interception, and that's the point. I get the interception. I kick the field goal. I win. I happen to score a touchdown on a run. But I know what I'm doing. The criticism is going to come in the execution, and in the Bean game, I didn't execute.
Wow, listen to that voice, man. Matt's getting a little ticked off here.
I'm fired
like
up. Just wait.
I like it. I like a little Matt fired up there. Hey, I'll be the first to be one to testify to Matt's genius. He got me last year, I think, twice in the playoffs. Because of Matt mentality, where he could have gone forward in 4th down to score a touchdown, kicked the field goal instead, then held me, and then got the field goal to win. So it definitely works. Where Matt mentality breaks down a little bit for me is when he limits himself to never going for it on 4th down, never running a stretch, or I don't know if he's doing it this year, but definitely did last year. He never ran out of shotgun. And so that just limits himself just to the game, because now all of a sudden I see these things. I'm like, well, I'll just pinch my line. Well, every time he's in shotgun, I'm going to go pass commit. All I got to do is get a stop on 3rd down because he's not going to go for it on 4th. So that part of Matt mentality, I'm gonna kind of poo-poo and be all over. But hey, Matt has shown enough on the game management, the time management, trusting his defense, that I'm all for Matt mentality when it comes to that.
Yeah, for me, you know, the situation, you know, 3 minutes left, you have 3 timeouts. Looking at it, and the way the tweet was constructed by Harvey Dent was, you know, 3 minutes left, 3 timeouts, none were taken. So I took it as, okay, Matt just didn't try to get a stop at all and just let the game end. And then I literally, before we recorded, I specifically made a point to watch it to make sure I knew what I was talking about. Matt kicks it off. He kicks a field goal down by 1. First play, Bean gets a stretch run. Matt doesn't take a timeout. before the 2-minute warning. Bean has to run another play before the 2-minute warning. Bean gets another first down on just a halfback dive type of play. No worries with no timeouts there. No problem. Injuries happen before 2-minute warnings. I actually wouldn't take my timeouts there either. The next 3 plays is where it gets interesting. I think Bean gains 8 yards on first down. It's 2nd and 2 with like 1:50 left. Matt didn't take a timeout there, which I was fine with. After second down, that's where Matt says, hey, you know what? I'd rather have 2 timeouts on my last drive than just 1 timeout. I probably would have taken I would have taken 2 timeouts. I would have taken 1 on second and 1 on third and gotten the ball back with about 1 minute left with 1 timeout. Matt said he would rather have had both timeouts with 35 seconds left. Now, obviously, Bean picked up a first down on third down, so his plan never got to go in effect. Therefore, he never took the timeouts. So when you hear his plan, it's not as bad. But when you see it from 30,000 foot view, it sounds worse than it is. I personally would have rather have had 1 minute with 1 timeout instead of 35 seconds with 2 timeouts. But to each his own. Everybody plays a little bit differently. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And I went back to watch it. The Matt mentality as a whole, which is I think some people get upset about what is it? Oh, I'm not the best. I'm not a top 5 player. Look, at the end of the day, if the guy doesn't think he's a top 5 player, then who cares? I think I'm the best. But who cares that I think I'm the best? No one. They just want to beat me anyway. They just want to shut me up.
Right on that. Nobody does care.
Nobody does care. Nobody cares. So it's why do people care that Matt doesn't think he's a top 5 player? It's just kind of funny to me.
And here's the thing, Prime. The thing that puzzles me in the Bean game is if I call the timeouts, no matter when I call them, the game is over. The same result happens. I never get the ball because I couldn't stop him.
Yeah, you couldn't stop him.
That first down at the end that I had all 3 of my timeouts, even if I didn't have the timeouts, the game is over. Yeah. So it doesn't make a difference that I didn't call them. If I call them when you say you would have, the game's still over, and that's what I don't understand.
Yeah,
I have nothing to gain by losing that game. I'm in the playoffs if I win that game. Why at 8 wins would I suddenly want to lose the game? I don't understand Bean's tweet there. He never good gained me, never said a word to me after the game. He just put the tweet out, and I was shocked.
Yeah, it's Harvey Dent is what I call him. Extra point. I'm not extra fun. I'm sorry. I'm just so caught off guard by Matt's passion.
You were going to the Matt mentality and not doing 4th down. That's fine. I understand it. It makes sense.
Yeah, we're fun.
But we got to do 4th downs here because you and I run them.
We still got to share the love on people. Dan, who are you spreading your love on?
Yeah, I want to spread to a guy that's probably not feeling a lot of love right now. That's QP right now, man. Hey, Q. I know you've got 6 out of 7 losses or 5 out of 7, something like that. But listen. Your last 2 games, you were right in there, had a chance to beat Prime. You were right there with me. You had a chance to beat me. Don't listen to the noise. Don't listen to the static. Don't get into your own head. Don't try to listen to what other people are telling you need to do or how you need to fix it. You just be you. You play you. You do you. You are a top 5 player. You will figure it out. You will be fine. Take advantage of what you're good at and just let the dice roll where they go, man. I believe in you. I think you're going to make some noise in the playoffs.
Wow. Matt?
Yeah, I'm not punting on this 4th down. I'm going to share my love with my favorite 4-letter word, Bean. Bean, so this all started when, let's go back in time. Last cycle in the playoffs, we played and he beat me. And he said that I let him win. I think it was in his tweet too. He's carried that narrative into this season. That's a spin in reality that not even Tiny Tight could come up with. Why would anyone want to lose a playoff game? Blew my mind. The day of our game, he says, and I posted this in the social chat, before we played, he said, "You'll let me win." Bean has had in his mind ever since that playoff game that if he beats me, it's because I let him win. That's where the tweet came from. Look, I play this game the same against everybody. If he talk, I went back and look at the tweet and he said I played off coverage. Watch every game I've ever played. Watch my game against HA. I don't blitz. I'm not a blitzer. I'm gonna make you work down the field, and if you make it, you make it. In fact, I beat AJ because he blitzed, and I went right up the middle and scored a touchdown in that overtime. this whole you let me win thing, I gained nothing from letting him win that game. In fact, I lost everything. I could lose the playoffs because of that game. I wanted to win, but I'm never going to go for it on fourth down unless the game would be over. I had a plan when I called my timeouts, and then he and then his little buddy Doink start bullying me. I had a little bit of a rebuttal in the insanity, but I think Bean has this complex of he doesn't want to say that he's better than me, but he's had it in his mind that he thinks I let him win last year and this year. It was a predetermined outcome. If he beat me, if it was 50-0 or 14-13, he was going to tweet that out. So it blows my mind.
Yeah, no, that's
But
good.
I guess that was share the love. I didn't really share the love with him, but you got a good defense, Bean.
No, that's good. Yeah, that was good.
Matt still doesn't know how to use a fourth down correctly.
Yeah, he cannot go for it on fourth down. He just can't do it. No, that's good. For me, I'm going to share the love to Dan. It's playoff time. He's a bitter rival of mine. We have had many great games through the years. I beat him in a playoff game, and before the game, he had said we could play. And then after the game, he blamed it on his COVID vaccine, and I hated him for like a week after that. Do you remember that game? Then he beat me in the playoffs once. I was the Chargers season 1. He was the Chiefs, I think.
Other way around, but that's all right.
I was the Chiefs, yeah. So there's so many good moments we've had in our rivalries, and I just want to share the love to Dan for always finding a way to push me, to make me think and make me want to be better. And thanks for being a good competitor and having thick skin, Dan.
You remember our first playoff game?
No, what happened? I really don't.
It was Denver versus Colts. I had gone to 3 straight Super Bowls. You beat me in overtime. I'll never forget that one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was the
very, very first time we ever played.
You had a blitz. Funny story. You had a blitz. It was like 3rd and short or 4th and short, and I thought you beat me. You sent an edge blitz, and I went to throw on my halfback wheel play with where you throw the in route on. I ran that exact same play, and I got stopped. I got the ball back, and I won the game in overtime. Something happened. So I remember you had called that blitz, and then I played you in the playoffs the next season. My dad was watching the game, actually. And it was like a 4th and inches, and Paulie and my brother were commentating it. And I looked to my dad. I'm like, he called a blitz on me on 4th and inches in a key moment. I bet he calls the same play again. And I had the halfback open. You called the same blitz. I hit the halfback, and that helped propel me over the win. So you always make me think. Anyway, there's just kind of a fun little side note there. But yeah, I appreciate your competitiveness. That doesn't mean I'm not going to rip your head off, though.
If you make it that far.
We'll see. Hey, that's all I got on Spread the Love. I guess we'll go to the Mat 5.
Yeah, just funny. Bean was in my stream for the whole AJ game. I need like water cooler talk here with Paulie or something. But Bean was in my stream the whole game against AJ. I blew a 21-3 lead. I kicked on 4th and inches but I got the first down and I won the game. I won the toss in overtime. I kicked it. I knew his little fingers were just typing away at some little thing about how I was losing.
Did he say anything?
Most pumped never said a word because I won the darn game. And I was so pumped when I scored that touchdown because I knew Bean was in there from before we started till the end. I was checking to make sure. So that felt
That's
good that
funny.
he couldn't send out
That's
whatever
funny.
he was going to say.
Well, he was probably talking to his connections about it. But
oh yeah, I watched his stream after when we were playing before the game even ended. He was typing. I could hear it on his stream.
Oh,
so
that's hilarious.
He's probably telling Doink I let him win or something. Anyways, at number 5, I've got Dump. I think this is if I'm in the AFC, I've got my eyes on this guy. This is in my opinion, I talked about Joe Burrow being my most overpowered player on offense, and he is that, and I would not want to play this guy. He's got an ability for every situation. Dump's been playing really well. His only recent loss is to Dan. It was 2 points, and it was a last-second field goal. He does have the loss against NYT early on in the season, but that's when NYT was playing well, and that's when Nick Chubb was healthy. We saw what has happened to Noel now that he doesn't have Nick Chubb, and there were 6 broken tackles in that game. He had over 100.5 yards. He avenged that loss 37-7 here just the other week. So Dumps at number 5. Number 4, I've got Bomber. He's going to be my lone NFC guy. Hey, he just keeps winning. Yeah, he beat Coop by 2, and I mentioned that earlier. But hey, division games are hard. Coop, when he plays well, can beat anybody. We've seen it before. Their first matchup was 20-17. So Coop knows something about Bomber. He just can't get
Yep.
over the hump. But big win against Straw, the previous advance. He's got AJ next. He can bury AJ's playoff hopes pretty much. So we'll see what he does there. I don't think he quite has the 1 seed locked up. But at number 3, I've got Clink. He's been kind of MIA. I think he was away for a little while, but he's back. He said he's gonna be here for the playoffs. And look, he's dangerous. He proved it last season. Again, if he takes that time out against you, Prime. I don't know if the story would have been rewritten or not, but it would have made things a little bit more interesting. But he hung in there toe to toe with you, gave you his best shot, and with that team, he's always gonna have. I mean, he's got everything, right? You can't just clue in on Pacheco, even though that's who he uses, because Mahomes is there with Kelsey and that you can't just focus on one thing. And that defense with Chris Jones isn't bad either. At number 2, not much change here. I've got Prime. Again, really impressive win over QP. He's going to give you his best shot. He does against everybody. I haven't gone back and watched the game. You were playing at the same time I was playing Bean. But hey, win's a win. It does a big game for you. I know you really wanted to secure that one. It keeps you in the running for the 1 seed. And at number 1, I've got Dan. And really, at this point, I could say the same about both of you. You're both playing well. You both have good wins, but Dan beat you, so that's where we're at.
That's great. No, I think the list is good. How many? Did you have any NFC teams? I guess I wasn't focused on that. Was there any NFC teams in that, or was that all?
Just Bomber.
Bomber. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a fun playoff. I think. Could you imagine a Bean versus Matt Super Bowl? That'd be fun. That would be fun.
Oh, I'd rip his head off. I'd rip his head off.
I hope it happens. Everybody take
nobody questions my integrity on whether I want to win or lose a game. I'd rip his head off. I'd beat him by 4 scores. That might be my final game. I'll celebrate into the end zone.
Go for it on 4th down.
I was petty in my tweet after the AJ game. I wasn't even talking about AJ in my tweet, which I apologize, AJ. I went into insanity and I screenshotted some of him and Doink's messages. That rubs me the wrong way. I'd destroy him.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Man, evil heel turn Matt. Oh, that's great.
This is like when Toby got the black symbiote. This is great. This is awesome. Hey guys, thanks for watching SML Total Access Playoff Edition. Playoffs. That was terrible, but anyway, thanks for listening and have a great day.